everybody, and welcome to March. And it is officially March Mystery Madness, and I am so excited. It is Tuesday, March 1st, and I thought I would pop on here and just let you know what was on the docket for right now. I've got 3 books already going, because that's just how I am. I always like to have more than one thing that I'm going to be working on. You know me. So, the first book I'm going to be working on is Killing Floor by Lee Child. It is the first Jack Reacher book. I have absolutely no idea what this is about, except for it's about Jack Reacher, and I do know that he is accused of murder, and yeah, that's pretty much all I know. And I only know that because I've watched the movie trailer, like the trailer for the TV show or whatever, because my dad was wanting to watch the show. He's watched the show, and I wouldn't let him tell me anything about it because I had to read the book first, and then I can watch the show. And then I have Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayre, and this one is the first book in the Lord Peter Wimsey series, and I know that there's a dead body. I have started this one a little bit yesterday because I was bored and didn't have a book. And his mother calls him when he was on his way somewhere and tells him about some people they know and how that they found a dead body in their bathtub and they don't have a clue who it is. And he was naked, all except for his pince-nez or something like that, which I had to look up because then I found out they were they're like those glasses that they wore that didn't have the sides on them. So they were just like this part, and they pinched them on their nose, and then they had like the little thing that they could dangle on. Yeah, so I did not know what those were, but now I do know. So that is pretty much all I know so far about this. So we'll see how that goes. I'm listening to this one on audiobook, and so far the audiobook's not too bad, so we'll see how it goes. And my ebook that I have going is sorry, the lighting is not very well, but it's Bear Witness by Lark O. Jensen, and I believe this is a debut cozy author, and this is the first book in this series. It's called An Alaska Untamed Mystery, and she is a tour guide. I think her name is Stacy. She working on a boat, a tour boat, and I guess something's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen on the tour boat or what, but I just know that she is a tour guide. And so those are the 3 books that I'm going to start with, and we'll see how I go throughout the week, which ones I finish, which ones I add, because I end up reading and starting way more books than I should. And so yeah. So I'm excited to get to all my mystery books that I have on the docket. You can see back behind me is a whole bunch of my TBR. I'm sitting in there because I didn't know where else to put them at the moment, and then I can pick and choose as I want. So we'll see how it goes. I will talk to you whenever I finish a book or I find something interesting to say. Hello everybody, it's later on Monday, and I thought I would pop on because I finished Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayre today. I listened to this one on audiobook, and I'm kind of glad I did because the writing is a little different because it is older. It's from 1923, and I started out reading it, and I was laughing at some of the way the writing was. It was just kind of weird. And I listened to the one that has David Case was the narrator, and I thought he did a really, really good job. And it was really easy having him read it to me. And it's strange. I thought it was okay. Lord Peter Wimsey, he gets a little rambly at some points whenever he's trying to make a point, and it was kind of funny. But I didn't find it to be like real exciting. But at the same time, I was really curious about, whose body it was, who killed him, how was Lord Peter Wimsey going to figure things out. I think it's cool that he is friends, it seems like, with the police, and so that's kind of how he ends up being able to, like, investigate. Like, it was funny, like, his mother calls him up in the beginning and is like, such and such found a dead body in the bathtub and they don't know who he is or how he got there. And he's like, oh, maybe I should go check this out. So, there he goes, and off he goes to solve the crime. And there was a point in it to where I thought it was interesting that he thought he knew who might have done it, and they were asking kind of like, is it relevant? I mean, should he say who had done it or what he's figured out? Is because he's not police, is he responsible to to tell them everything that he knows and things like that? So I thought that was kind of interesting, and whenever he does think about it, and whenever his friends telling him, about, he thinks that, if you know something, you should say something, and so then he's kind of like, okay, so maybe I should tell you about this, and because he did know some things that they hadn't figured out, and he did figure out, who done it, and I think he was a little shocked himself at like who done it, and it was really interesting at the end because once they catch the person, that person sends Lord Peter Wimsey a like big letter, and that's like pretty much the end of it. Was like this like huge letter about why he did things that he did, and how he thought it was for the better of this and that, and because he was and everything, and I was about to say something, but that could spoil things, so I was stopped myself. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, and then it just ends with like, what's next, Peter? And then he's like, I shall now give a dinner party. And that's kind of like, that's not all of the ending, but it's just funny. It's like, I solved this big crime, so let's go have a dinner party now. And so I think I will probably give this like 3 stars. I have been told that it gets better once another character is introduced to the stories. I think it's like number 5 or something like that. So I will probably keep reading the series until to get to that point to see how I'm feeling about it. But I mean, right now it's just an okay kind of thing, but I am at the same time, I'm kind of curious to see how Lord Peter Wimsey is going to solve another crime. So it was okay. And I also finished a book that I haven't mentioned. It's a graphic novel, and I had started this in February, and then I thought, well, I should leave it until I get to March for middle grade March, since it's a middle grade graphic novel. And it's called The Night Brigade, and it's volume 1 of The Girl from Deja Vu. And I cannot pronounce these people. It's Frank Twilsey, and Yongo Dumont and Drac, or something like that. Anyway, if you think it looks interesting, you can look it up and find out who is behind the graphic novel. But I thought it was okay, but I do think it's got a really pretty cover. I think it's a little deep for middle grade. I would say if a middle grader was to read this, maybe an older middle grader or even like a younger teen. It's about a guy who has this clinic, and he helps people with their nightmares. And that part reminded me a little bit of like Monsters, Inc., except instead of monsters going in there and scaring people, you've got these young people here going into, they open up this door and go into the person's nightmare and try to figure out why they're having that nightmare and try to help them overcome the nightmare. If the person wakes up before they get out, they could be trapped inside that nightmare. And so they have to monitor it, and the doctor, which is this little guy here who's in the wheelchair, Tristan's father, and then he had adopted this boy Esteban, and that's the little doctor guy. And in the beginning, it has them trying to figure out Sarah's nightmare, and Sarah has a problem. She doesn't know where she come from, like she can't remember things, and it's almost about the same time that Esteban hasn't been able to remember where he is from and things, and so it's got a little bit of a story revolving around that. And then there is also there's a guy that they've been keeping here because his wife got trapped inside that guy's nightmare, and they have been keeping him there like prisoner, kind of, because but they have to get the kid strong enough to be able to go inside that guy's nightmare, because evidently it must have been like a real doozy, and they need a stronger nightmare people to go in, the Nightmare Brigade. So they're keeping him there until that. So there's like that kind of a story, and then it explains a little bit about like the clinic and stuff in here, and I felt like that could go over like little kids' heads, kind of, because it kind of confused me a little. So I thought it was okay. I give it 3 stars. I am curious because of like some of the stuff we find out at the end. I'm curious to read the like next volume to see what happens. But yeah, I would just say, maybe read this with your young reader in case they do like get confused with a few things. But I did like the story. I did find it interesting. So yeah, I would give it 3 stars. It's kind of got a cool back. So there's that. And so I am going to add Theodore Boone, Kid Lawyer by John Grisham, to my rotation now, since I have finished Whose Body. I do actually have the audiobook for this from Libby, and so I will probably be listening to this one tomorrow. And so I'm kind of excited to give this a try. If I like this series, then I have the whole series to read, and I may read that whole series this year because there's only like 7 books and they're pretty short. So I have the first 2 on my TBR to see what I think. Hello everybody, it's Wednesday night. I almost forgot what day it was. And I thought I would come on here and give an update because I did it again. I didn't mention that I was reading on this one. It wasn't really a book that I was wanting to read, but I needed a dark academia type book for my character prompt for the magical readathon, because I'm still working on my character and I need to get it done. And so I did The Society by Jodie and Andrefski. I probably butchered that, but there it is. And it is a young adult, and it was okay. I wasn't really too impressed with it, but I just wanted to get it done. I had started it in February, there towards the end, just to kind of get going with it, and so I finished it up. And it is about Sam, whose father has been put in jail for some kind of scheme that he had done, and he threatened Sam's best friend at the time's father because of some things, and so he is in jail. And Sam kind of finds out that her friend Jessica wasn't really her friend, her best friend. She actually kind of become friends with her just to kind of spy on her and her father for her father or whatever. And so now that all this has happened, she's testified against Sam's father. And so they are no longer friends. And Jessica is like kind of high on the totem pole at the school. And there is this secret society and at the school. It's a Trinity Academy. And Sam wants to bring Jessica down. She knows that she would never make it into the society because of her background. So because she's a pretty good whiz at electronics and things like that, she decides to scheme, and she decides to fake tap 3 people that she knows would probably deserve to be in this society, but nobody would pick them to be in the society. Because they would deserve to be in the society, she figures that they would want it a lot and that they would do whatever she wanted them to do to get into it. And so she sets it up to where they do these certain things, and some of it is to Jessica, but things go wrong. Things go pretty wrong. The first time somebody gets injured, and then there's another thing that happens when she decides, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this stuff, but still somebody else gets like injured, and her best friend, I think his name was Jeremy. I don't know if it says back here or not. And yeah, oh, Jeremy, I was right. So, he kind of backs away from her because he finds out what she's doing. He's like, I don't want anything to do with this. You're kind of taking things too far. And so, yeah, some things happen. There's like this weird, like little dating romance section with some guy from like left field. Like, she meets this guy all of a sudden, and then that kind of blows over and goes weird, and then she gets rid of him, and all of a sudden she's all over like wanting, like, maybe she thinks she likes her best friend Jeremy more than she thought she did or something. I don't know, that part was just kind of weird. Like, it was in there just to like put some more into the story or something, but it didn't really have a reason to be there. I actually thought that this ransom guy was going to be like secretly working for like Jessica or something, and like going to like turn the tables on Sam or something, but no, nothing happened. So I just didn't understand why that part was even in there. And then I thought Sam got off a little too lightly at the end with all the stuff that happened and everything. I don't know. I guess I was thinking that things were going to really hype up, like the stakes were going to get like really, really out there and everything. And she was going to either, get it turned on her, like the tables turned on her, or, something really, really bad was going to happen. And I don't know. I just thought the ending was a little flat. So it was okay. I would give it maybe like 2.5, 3 stars maybe. I'll give it 2.5 and 3 stars on Goodreads probably. There were parts that were interesting, but then there was parts that it was just me. It was okay. And so I'm just glad I got it done so that I can knock this off of the prompts that I had for my character. Because I'm like way behind on doing my magical readathon character-y things. And I don't know when she's going to actually pop on the actual readathon, because we thought it was going to be in April, but she's been having some health problems. G has. So we don't know if it's going to be in April. It might get pushed back, but I need to make sure I have it all ready to go. So there's that. And yeah. So I am currently working just a little bit on this. I'm just a little bit like every day, like a chapter or so until I get farther into it, and then I'll probably read on it. It's actually the book that I'm using for the Aurelium Gear Up as the book that's been on my TBR the longest. And that's only like a week-long readathon, but this is like 500 and some pages. So I wouldn't be able to finish it in like the week, probably not with everything else that I'm reading. So I'm just kind of working on it a little bit at a time, and then that week I'll like read a whole bunch of it and then finish it off. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm only on chapter 3, but like it like starts off like with a bang. I mean, first sentence, let's see. I was arrested in Eno's diner at 12 o'clock. So it's like, oh, we're just going to throw him right in there. He's in trouble right off the bat. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I am also working on Kid Lawyer by John Grisham, and I am on chapter 3, and so far it's not bad. It's about a smart kid, Theodore. He knows a lot about law because his mother works in a law firm, and he hangs out a lot in courts and things like that, and so he knows his stuff. So I'm not exactly sure what is going to happen yet. Haven't really got that far yet, and I don't remember. Like, I think I looked at what it was about at one point, but I don't remember. So we'll just have to read as we go, and it doesn't really say on the back. So my one kind of disappointment is Bear Witness by Lark O. Jensen. I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm only 20% into it, but the character Stacy, I don't know. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about her, but what you know about her, you know she likes wildlife. And you know she likes wildlife a lot because the author tells you that she likes wildlife all the time, this whole 20%. She is on this tour. It's an Alaskan tour. We know that she is supposed to be showing people all the animals that are on the tour. Okay, so we know she likes wildlife. You don't have to tell us she likes wildlife so much. She likes wildlife so much that she's upset when she goes home and there's no television show with wildlife on it. And it's like, well, watch something different. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. I think this is the author's first book, maybe. I know it's a debut cozy, so it might be her first one. So I'm trying to be like, okay, we'll just, give it a try and be a little lenient, but yeah, it's annoying me. It's annoying me, so I don't know. I'm gonna keep going with it. Hopefully it will get better. It's a review book, so I really hate to DNF. So I'm trying to keep going, but I mean, if I'm not having a good time with it, though, I don't have a problem with like quitting. I really wanted to like it because it's set in Alaska, but it's really annoying me. So yeah. Oh, and I am almost done with Night Moves by Julie Mulhern. It's the 12th book in the Country Club Mysteries, and I really like this series. It's a lot of fun. It's just set in the 70s, so it's got this fun 70s vibe and all that, and it's kind of fun because like you can't just call somebody when you get in trouble because the cell phones weren't going then, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm listening to it on audiobook. I only have like an hour or so left of it, so I will be on here probably tomorrow to talk to you about that. Hello everybody, it is Wednesday night of third day of March Mystery Madness, and I've finished a couple more books, so I thought I'd come on here and say something. I finished Night Moves by Julie Mulhern. It is the 12th book in the Country Club's mystery series, one of my favorite series. It is set in the 70s, and it's just a lot of fun. And I told you yesterday that I was almost done with this one, so I only had like an hour and a half or something like that left. So I finished listening to that earlier today, and so I just thought I would mention that I give it 4 stars. I liked it. There was a little touch and go situation at the end. I about panicked. But it's about Ellison, and in the beginning, like the first book, her husband dies, and she is kind of seen as maybe a suspect. And she meets Anarchy Jones, the detective, and I just love his name. And she is country club bringing up, and he is detective, and so they've got two different dynamics going there. Her mother, her mother is so funny because she like freaks out anytime Ellison is not like acting like she should, like this prim and proper country club kind of lady, and here she is finding a body. And she finds quite a few bodies and stuff as it goes, and it's just kind of a running thing that's kind of funny. Are you going to find a body today? Kind of a thing. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And this one, I can't say a whole lot because I don't want to spoil things, but there is a poisoning that happens, and she kind of gets involved with figuring it out. But she actually didn't find the first body, but she did find the second one. And so yeah, it was just it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy that series. It's my friend Tiffany read the first one recently, and it's just kind of funny because of her reactions to the first one. Because it's been so long since I've read the first one that I totally forgot like the stuff that was in the first one. And so just remember, if you do try this series, that there could be some like surprising things for a cozy in it. but I really, it's a really fun series. I really like it. And then I finished Theodore Boone's Kid Lawyer by John Grisham. This is the first book in the Theodore Boone series, and I have this one and the second one on my list. I don't even know. Oh, here it is. Found it. And the second one on my list, so I'm doing 2 books by John Grisham in this series, and I really like this one. It was cute. I think it would make like a good like TV series for children. It would be kind of fun to have like, you know, this middle grader who both his parents, I think I said before that I thought his mom was just a lawyer, but both his parents are lawyers. I'm not sure if I said that. And so it's they run Boone and Boone, I think it is what it's called. And they both have his parents. It's funny because if one's gonna say it's right, the other one's gonna say it's wrong. It's like they always have like this thing going, and it's funny. But of course, being in that kind of an atmosphere, he's grown up in the law office. He even has his own little office where he meets some of his friends sometimes, and he helps his friends because he's grown up in all this. He knows a lot about law. That's what he wants to do when he grows up. He wants to be a lawyer. But if I remember right, I think he wants to be a criminal lawyer, and his parents aren't that kind of lawyer, but he wants to kind of be like, I think the criminal kind of, I don't know if it's a prosecutor that he wants to be or defender. I don't remember, but I just know he wants to do, I think, something with like the criminal law. And so there is a trial going on with this guy, and he wants to kind of sit in on it. And so he talks his school teacher into if he can get them in on the trial, maybe they could watch it to learn in his government class. And so they get to sit in on like the first day of the trial and everything, so he could kind of, you know, get in on it. And he learns some things about the trial and about what's happening, and he thinks that the guy might be guilty, but he thinks that they're not going to be able to prove that he's guilty. And then he has some evidence. He finds somebody that knows something, but they're afraid of coming forward because they're illegal and could be deported. And so he tries to figure out how to get this information to the judge and all them without, you know, getting this guy in trouble and everything. So that was pretty interesting, and I just like how he helps his friends. One of his friends didn't know the lingo, and wanted to know what foreclosure meant because his parents had been arguing and his mother was crying and he heard this big word foreclosure. So he explains to him what foreclosure means and what happens and everything and how he could help his parents. He gives them information to take and try to fix everything so that they couldn't foreclose on his house because his father was out of work. And so he helps him, with that. So he has like the knowledge and everything to help his friends with a few things. Sometimes he can't help them and he's like, he's in trouble and I don't know what to do. I can give you this, but at the end of the day, he's a 13-year-old kid and he can't really, do a whole lot. But it's pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to get to the next one, which is the abduction, but I will have to wait until the week that the Aurelium Gear Up week, the little mini readathon for that's happening. I don't know if it's next week or the next week after that. I'll have to look. But anyway, this has a night setting on it, and I read my night moves, which I could have used, but I needed to have it read before Saturday. And then I was trying to put off night shift, but then of course my friend Lee's like, you need to read it now. And so I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, if I can find a night scene, because I had to have either a night scene on the cover or the word night. And so this has a night scene. So I'll use that for this. So I'll just save that for then. So meanwhile, I have DNF'd a book already, I know. But Bear Witness by Lark O. Jensen. It was a debut cozy. I really had high hopes for it. The cover is so adorable. But I just wasn't vibing with the writing. I think she was just overtelling a lot of things in the writing. And I was just getting annoyed. And I was like, I can't handle it any longer. So I just went ahead and quit. Which is kind of a bummer. It was a review book. But I don't feel bad about, DNFing a review book. Because, it's either I'm going to give you a bad review or I quit while I'm ahead, So that's how I think of it. And so we're just going to quit. I did give it to 22%. I did try. But yeah. So instead, I'm going to read The Night Shift by Alex Finley because I really wanted to read that. And I'd already kind of cheated a little bit and had started on it. I'm like on maybe like the 3rd chapter or something like that. So I'm really curious to see how it goes. And by the way she was talking about it, it must be kind of a wild ride. So I'm really curious about it. I'm also still working a little bit at a time on Killing Floor because that's also supposed to be for the Aurelium Gear Up readathon. But I wanted to make sure that I could get the whole 500-page book read in the week. So I'm kind of getting ahead a little bit. It's a little cheat. But yeah, so still reading on that a little bit. And I think that's it. I don't know. I need another audiobook. Because Night Shift is not an audiobook. I will read Totally Paw-Struck by Sophie Ryan. It's the latest book that's in the Second Chance. And it's on my list. And so I will listen to that. That is what I will do. So I will check back in with you guys whenever I have something else to say. So we got some more wood. It's supposed to get kind of nasty this weekend. So I will be stacking this, or at least some of it, and listening to Totally Paw-Struck by Sophie Ryan. Fun. Hello everybody, it is Saturday, and I thought I would come in here and wrap up this week's reading vlog and talk about the last book for the week that I have finished. And that would be one that I didn't mention that I was even going to read. And this is Escape from Mr. Lemencello's Library. It's the first book in the Mr. Lemencello's Library series. It's by Grabenstein. And I just really, really like this. It was a lot of fun. It made me giggle a lot. It was just a cute middle grade mystery book, and it is centered around Kyle and some of his friends and some others from their school. They go to the library. There's this brand new library. It's supposed to be like this huge, elaborate one. And, well, what they had to do was they had to write an essay about the library and why they wanted to go to this library. And then they selected 12 kids to go through it. And while they're there at the library, they get locked in. And then that's when Mr. Lemencello tells them about his new game, because that's what he does. He makes a lot of different board games and all kinds of games, and Kyle's like a huge board game person. And so that's the whole thing. They make the whole library into like this big elaborate game, escape plan kind of game. They have to figure out, use the clues, use the library, because Mr. Lemencello is like, kids don't use the libraries. They don't know anything about them. They think libraries are boring when they're chock full of all kinds of information. And so they make them have to use the library, the different places, go all over it, trying to find these clues to try to figure out where this secret passage, like escape place, is in the library. And there's rules, and they didn't have to do this. Like, there was some of them that opted out not to stay in the library, and they let them go out. One had a prior commitment, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I can't stay. I have to go do her soccer game." And she gets a prize from Mr. Lemencello for keeping her commitments and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun. And then there's some, if they disobeyed the rules, they got kicked out and stuff. And it's just kind of a race against like two different teams. And there's this one, you got to have the one kind of guy who thinks he just knows everything better than everybody else, and he's gonna win the game and all that stuff, and he's using other players to his advantage and things like that. Then you have Kyle and his friends, and how they decide to band together, because it's better to have more heads together to try to figure things out. And so yeah, it was really cute. Yeah, some of the things that were said and everything, just it made me chuckle. And it had puzzles in it, which was kind of fun. I think the one thing that I would have liked is if there would have been more illustrations. Basically, it had like the puzzles and stuff in here that they were trying to figure out. But I think it would have been a lot more fun if it would have had like just some kind of fun illustrations. I like my middle grade books with illustrations. They're just more fun. But yeah, this is the first book. I have the second book back here, and I will be getting to it probably in the coming week, because I really did enjoy this. I think there's like 5 books in this series, and the way it's going, I probably will be finishing this series pretty quick if I don't read any more of it this month, because I only really had the 2 books on my TBR. But yeah, it will be one that I probably will finish before the end of the year, because it is really a lot of fun. 4 stars. So just a real quick recap. I read Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayre. I thought it was a decent start to the series, and I give it 3 stars. Then I read a graphic novel called The Nightmare Brigade, and I cannot pronounce these people's names, so if you find it interesting, you can look it up yourself. And it was promoted as a middle grade, but I think it's more of a young adult, or like an early, like really older middle grade, younger teens. But even when I looked at it on the Goodreads, a lot of people were billing it as young adult, not middle grade. So I think it's kind of misrepresented that way. But it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. The Society by Jodie Andrefski, and it was just okay. I gave it 3 stars. Theodore Boone Kid Lawyer by John Grisham. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought it was a really good start to a series, and I can't wait to get to the next one. And then this one. And of course, Night Moves by Julie Mulhern on audiobook. So I got that one done, and it was the 12th book in the Country Club series, and I gave it 4 stars. And so I think that's everything. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 books. Yep, I read 6 books. Okay, got it. And so, yeah, I think it was a really good start to middle grade March and March Mystery Madness, because I read a little bit of both. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.